Hello and welcome to another edition of You and Me and Multiple Sclerosis. My name is Pam and I've been living with multiple sclerosis for over 37 years. And I've talked about this before, but when your multiple sclerosis makes it impossible for you to continue working or doing many of the things that you used to do, a large part of your identity tends to threaten to dissolve away from you. You have to think about, what is the rest of my life going to be like? And I found that more than anything, I just like to have a job. And it doesn't have to be a paid job and it doesn't have to be a big important job, but I like to have a reason and a purpose for my days. Since a lot of my life is inside the house, I realized that my main job really should be something that takes place here at home and that I can bring some creativity to. And this is not going to be like most of my other videos where I look at articles and give you a lot of references and sources. This is kind of more like daily life for me. I hope that you find this somewhat useful, how someone else might be dealing with having multiple sclerosis. And you do know that I am fairly ambulatory, but my energy level is pretty limited. I realized that I had to be realistic and I wasn't going to be doing anything too strenuous or that required me to expend energy over a long period of time. And what I have found is that things that used to seem, I don't know, too dull or too repetitive or not creative enough when I was younger, they actually are quite satisfying to me now. I'll give you one example. Meal planning and the inventory of our refrigerator, our freezer, and our pantry. Because in the past, that would not have been something that would have interested me much at all. But now I take a lot of satisfaction in menu planning and putting together shopping lists. Sometimes I go with my husband to grocery shop, but very often I don't. I just send him to the store with the list. He does most of the cooking. Then I help do the dishes and do the cleanup as best as I can. Because I can't stand at the stove for long periods of time, and I don't do very well with multitasking. So if a meal has different components cooked separately and they all are supposed to time out to finish at the same time, that's not really my strong suit anymore. I have a pretty low threshold of frustration, so I try to avoid that kind of thing. But what I'm finding is that it's really become something I can almost take pride in, that I can keep us in interesting meals. My husband doesn't mind doing the cooking, but he's not one to go through recipes and come up with things to do that are different. So I think it's really worked out well that we can partner in the way that we do and put some good food on the table. Healthy meals too. As I told you, I think in other videos, I follow more or less a modified swank diet. So I try to keep it pretty low in saturated fat, but I also try to keep it very low in sugar, because I don't think that that is a good thing for anyone to eat. There's really not much nutritional value in sugar. And with only one kidney, I really just want to keep my blood sugar down as low as I possibly can. Well, it turns out that the timing was quite good, because as you're all very aware, inflation is really increasing the price of foods that we've been buying. And so we are also learning, in addition to menu planning, we're also learning to be more mindful of how we store food so that it will last longer. And that particularly would include fresh produce. And so we have started looking into vacuum sealing machines to keep our produce longer, because you can do that with many things before you put them in the freezer and keep them from getting freezer burn. But I will say that this journey that we're on to find the perfect vacuum sealer has not been an easy one, because the first one we bought was a name brand, and I won't name the brand. Almost from the get-go, I couldn't even get the power to come on the second time I tried to use it. But the first time, when it did have power, the vacuum didn't work very well. So we are on to another one now, and this will be the latest experiment in trying to figure out how to save food for longer periods of time. That's kind of fun in its way, although a little frustrating, I will say. So what I'm finding is that if you take this really seriously, it's not like it's a full-time job, but it does occupy more than just a few minutes a day to think through, do we have enough of this or that? What kinds of fresh ingredients are we needing, and where's the best place to get them? I even clip some coupons electronically and have them saved to the loyalty card or the grocery store that we go to. There's a lot of components to it, and it keeps my brain somewhat active. It's not as strenuous as the graduate degree I just finished, but it is purposeful, and my husband appreciates it. We're collaborating together. It gives us something to share that we can do together, because many of the things that we used to do together are not really in my wheelhouse anymore. And I don't know whether this is something that you can relate to. Have you found that now that you're not working in the workforce outside the home, that you've found yourself kind of at loose ends and thinking, no, this isn't really what I want to do for the rest of my life? I would really like to know, well, what are the things that you have picked up or discovered or become interested in again that maybe you put aside during your working career, that you're saying, oh yeah, this is satisfying in a way that I never thought it could be? Because that's certainly a discovery that has brought me no little amount of joy, actually. I'm learning to be really happy with small things in life. If getting interesting and tasty meals put together or planned for is how I do that for our household, then that's good enough for me, at least for now. I have other things too. It's not like that's all I do, but this is an example. I'd be curious to know yours, so leave me a comment, and I will see you again in my next video.